All right, welcome to the Modern Car Wash Podcast, Season 3, and it's been, unfortunately, over a year since our last podcast, and a lot has changed, not only with our company, but also the format of the podcast. So originally, I was the host, and then I relinquished those duties to Dan St. Jacques, who then relinquished them back to me. We've added Shane Groff as the co-host of this show. So Shane, welcome. And we're here with Stefan Casey, who's the new, I guess new, if you want to still call him new, General Manager for Hoffman Innovated Car Wash. So Stefan, welcome.
Thank you, Rita.
So it's funny, our office at Hoffman Development, which owns Hoffman Car Wash, Hoffman Innovated, where the marketing department sits. Directly behind is where Innovated essentially starts, and Shane was in the Innovated section. He got booted because we hired staff. So Shane moved into like the marketing place, and within, I don't know, what was it, like an hour, we were like, we got to bring back the podcast. So here we are. Yeah. So Shane, you were telling me like how much you hear about people enjoying the podcast when you're on the road.
Yeah, I mean, our current customers, they stay up to tune on it. People at the trade shows are always commenting, oh, I seen this episode about this, and it spurs a lot of great conversations. So that's why I kind of needled Dan to bring it back. But, Dan didn't want to be in front of the camera when he came back. So he's here with us. So say hi, Dan.
Yeah, we were like, all right, Dan, we're going to do this, but you have to do all the legwork. We just have to talk. So here we are. So yeah, I think, initially when we set out for it, the idea was, we have Hoffman Car Wash has been around since 1965. There's just so much knowledge within the walls of this company. And what can we do almost to give back or share what we're happening and, hopefully spur a conversation across the industry. And at the same time, we're able to talk about what we have going on in our lives and our businesses, et cetera. So, like I said, our guest today is Stefan Casey, who's General Manager for Innovated. Stefan, I can't remember when you interviewed. I was trying to go back and I kind of lost time. So how long have you been with the company?
So I interviewed with you about a year ago.
So there we go.
Back in June, July of last year.
Okay.
And then officially came on board at the end of September.
Okay.
So it's about 8 months now that I've been fully in position.
Time flies.
It really
for
does.
Sure. The last time we had the podcast, I certainly didn't have a beard. I don't think Shane had a beard. So maybe you're trying to say, it's certainly something, which is, this is completely off topic, but it's interesting how the facial hair, especially in our company, but also in the industry, like it's a beard industry, right? Yeah. So you fit right back, fit right in. So, 8 months really, which is, again, like you said, time flies. I don't know. How's it going for you? You're still working here, so you haven't left?
Still here.
Yeah.
Still here. I come here every day, and every day has been a different new challenge. It's been exciting. I mean, I look back kind of the past 8 months of how much we have accomplished in 8 months, but also how much is left to continue to do to get us to where we need to be. It's pretty amazing environment here. Got a lot of good groups and individuals, both on the innovative side and also on the car wash side. So there's a lot of collaboration and discussion that goes on that helps my learning as new to the industry, but helps us kind of really refine and improve our products so that we can address not only probably one of the higher demand customers in Hoffman, but the rest of the customers out there for that are going to be using our equipment.
Yeah. So your background, engineer at heart, and you came from Applied Robotics, which is a local company to the Albany, the capital region, upstate New York. Can you just walk us through what Applied Robotics is and what you were doing there?
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. When I was interviewing for this position, I'm sitting there thinking, car washes like that. That's got to be vastly different than what I've been doing for the past decade with Applied Robotics. And I found out there's actually a lot of similarities. But Applied Robotics manufactures end-of-arm tooling equipment for robotics and automation. And it's company's been around since '83. Has been operating out of Glenville, New York, since early '90s, and we sell our equipment not only in the United States, but we sold throughout the entire world, every reach of the world, in every automotive install, general industry, robotic application. But we were a small manufacturing company, similar to what Innovative is. And what I found is a very similar aspect of the manufacturing end is our customers were looking for a kind of customized configuration, custom solution that was kind of tailor fitted to their application, which is very similar to what we do with our car wash equipment. Everybody's got their own unique way of putting the tunnel in and how they want to wash cars and what kind of equipment they want to use. And we at Innovative are trying to set ourselves up so we can kind of tailor a solution specific to the customer and specific to that application, because every wash is different.
Yeah. Shane, is that, you're the man who's been in the industry the longest. Like, has that always been the case? Like, was there ever a one size fits all or like a standard model? Is this like everyone's going their different direction recently?
A lot of guys have started out with the mentality of one size fits all, but you quickly learn it's very hard to adapt that mentality. I mean, we make this high pressure arch with vertical nozzles that oscillates fore and aft. And here in Albany, we run it as low to the ground as we can, try to get that bottom nozzle just above the conveyor rail, because we wash a lot of really low sedans, BMW, Mercedes, whatever you want. And then we've got that same exact piece of equipment in Texas, and they have it a foot off the ground because they're washing all taller vehicles, and they don't want the water spraying underneath the car. So, back in the 80s, 90s, even the early 2000s, everybody welded everything to the arch, and we just took that different approach of we're going to bolt it so they could do what they wanted. So much like what Stefan's been saying, where they want the product, but they want to be able to kind of tweak it, configure it their own. That's our customer. It's one of the things that attracted us to Stefan, that he was a believer in it, and he understood that side of an industry.
It's interesting because I guess I never really thought of it. And again, I sit in different chairs than you guys do. And my world is very, when I put my Hoffman car wash hat on, it's very much the Northeast and deal with and salt and snow and all that fun stuff. But really, you think, you use the example of Texas, well, more trucks. I guess it really is regional then, right? It's not necessarily the operator. It's the weather conditions. It's the type of vehicles you're washing, etc. So certainly interesting.
It's even, we've been experiencing with some of the new sites going. It's site specific. It's, utility supply and how that can affect the equipment's operation. It's so many aspects have to go into, the equipment that you're providing, how it's going to function and operate.
Yeah.
And it's, from the engineering end, it's a fun challenge to have to deal with. Definitely makes you wake up every day and, come to work going, all right, what problems we're going to solve today?
Yeah. Yeah. So how much of that of those, well, I guess how do you game plan that then? Like you're constantly, it seems like you're adapting to the wash, to the region, etc. What's the best way forward then to where do you go to the benchmark and be like, okay, this is probably where we want to start? How do you figure that out?
So it's funny. We at Applied Robotics, we manufactured high precision product, but we offered up maximum flexibility, which you kind of think of the two words, you're like precision and flexibility. It's kind of hard to blend those two. You feel like they're the opposite. It's kind of what we're starting to build here, is that flexibility in the product, like Shay was saying, about having the adaptability and flexibility to be able to adjust how it operates based on where you're operating that, but also have the robustness and the rigidity of an industrial piece of equipment. Finding that blend is challenging. You really have to build it from the design level up through the supply chain to the production and how it goes to the customer. And every aspect of sales to engineering and production have to be all in alignment. So you're kind of tackling the same goal. but it's, it's kind of trying to gather that what are those variables that you're having to deal with, and can you build a foundation of, kind of common building blocks to be able to address those. And Shane, brings that, many, many years of experience and understanding of how different wash operators want to use the equipment, how different regions are going to use the equipment. And it allows us to sit there and say, all right, how are we going to take those different requirements and how are we going to put it into a product or a piece of equipment that can be flexible enough from the conceptualization, from the engineering end, all the way to the production end, and still make it so it's got that same reliability and robustness that we intend.
Yeah, I think about 8 months ago, we were just getting ready to launch the RO unit. Was that first RO? So that was like, you walked in and we're like, okay, we're like, I think, I don't even know if we launched it at that point, but I remember having that conversation. So it was a pretty significant launch. It's a popular product. Shane, do you want to talk about what exactly am I talking about here with the RO system?
Yeah, I mean, we were knee deep, needless to say, in developing a product that took an approach that nobody else did. We didn't want to have big tanks in the back room. We wanted a small footprint. And we wanted to utilize high quality components that are going to last a long time. So there were many years of beta testing and engineering that went behind it, but it's been a long road. We baptized him by fire with the RO. It's Stefan kind of, he's adapted. In the middle of winter, last winter, we took him to Texas where it was nice and warm. We went to the trade show. And he kind of thought that was what winter was about. Well, then I quickly took him to Minnesota and went where me, him, and Tom Jr., we did some startups on some ROs up there in Minnesota for a customer. So it's been a long journey, and without the help of the engineers and the production staff, we wouldn't be where we're at today.
Yeah. What was it? So and really, like, when you think about the launch of RO for innovateIT, when innovateIT started in 2018, I mean, the products were developed, they were used for the most part within the Hoffman car wash tunnels. I felt the RO was the first major launch of a product. And for you, you walked in, you didn't have fingerprints on it, but you're in charge of it, right? How was it difficult? I imagine you're just trying to wrap your head around it, or how much was it hard to just say, okay, well, you guys kind of know, you know what you're talking about. Like, I'll just let them handle this one, and then I'll tackle the next one.
But it's definitely a major learning curve. Try to come in first just to understand
everything,
what the product is, and what's its intended use, and why does it even exist in car washes.
Yeah.
Then once you have that understanding, it's all right, well, what has everybody else been doing, in the past, and what makes this one different? So just kind of getting educated on it and, being informed on it, talking to Shane, talking to others out there that have used RO systems or that, helped in some of the creation of the one that we're manufacturing. But even after release, and you continue to learn more and more about that piece of equipment and about how people are going to use it. And we're continuing to learn, these days about different site effects and factors that go into play. That goes to having that flexibility in your product. And, it's one of the great things about having an industry like this and products that we provide to it is every application, every use is kind of unique. And, some can get frustrated by putting something in a wash and it operating a little differently than the one before because of different site factors. At the same time, it's a great learning experience to try to deploy a solution to that and put it into the core foundation of the product and make it so I can work in any environment. I can be operating up in, the cold winters of Minnesota, and that same piece of equipment can then go down into Texas in a nice warm climate and be functioning pretty much the same way, with different wash demands based on different operators. So it's been truly an experience and a fun one, particularly at the trade shows, to see just the quality and level of discussions that you're having with others out there. I went to many trade shows. At my old office, I used to have my lanyards from all the trade shows that I went to, and it was 50, 60 different lanyards sitting there. And I would say the discussions there were more kind of exploratory, people kind of just trying to learn some technology, see what else is out there. But conversations maybe last 5 minutes. That's it. Here in the car wash industry, people really want to understand the product, understand the use and the technology behind it, and they take the time to really learn from the experts in there. So you're having a 30, 45 minute long conversation at a trade show. It was very beneficial for me to kind of shadow Shane and learn, at the same time hear from others from all around the country and even the globe. Had some individuals from Guam, as at the booth, and could hear about some of their struggles and experiences with these types of systems. Canada, and then the southern U.S. and even the northern states. So real interesting.
And kind of comparison with applied robotics and who your customer was. I'm going to make an assumption that very different than the car wash in the sense of the car wash. There's such a wide range of operators. You have private equity, 100 car washes across the country. You have regional powerhouses. You have maybe family-owned, 5 businesses, and you have the single operator. There's just such a wide variety of interest or people in the wash. The one thing that I noticed when I got in the industry, though, is just like the passion of the people. And I think what you were saying, like there's this thirst for knowledge to learn as much as possible. I think what's interesting, you bring up trade shows, and I went to the ICA in Vegas. What was that, in May? Yeah. May, right? That was my first trade show, believe it or not. And one of the things that I found interesting, or you have a good product when you see other manufacturers or like your competitors, like peeking around the corner or like maybe walking over and checking out what you got going on. And in my eyes, what I saw was, I think, the RO, the reclaim, even our control cabinets, things along those lines are, and kudos to you guys, like trying to really push kind of innovation in those areas. But I got to think, innovation, it's in the name of the company, but it has to be at top of the mission statement for this. And, how important is that the products that you're putting out or the vision you have for the company, innovation's right there at the top.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, car washes they're a giant automated production line. Mm-hmm. And what has fascinated me is that it's probably one of the more complex automation problems out there. Robotics and automation has always been very rigid and structured environments. They're pretty much fixed, and the product that you're processing is the same size, same form, time and time again. Car washes, you have a different car going through every single time. Mm-hmm. You have a different car based on region. You sometimes have big trucks and SUVs. Sometimes you have small sedans, and you have to have a system that's flexible enough to be able to handle that, which is what makes car washing very, very exciting. That's what drew me in. And with that is just the opportunity for a lot of innovation, to be able to handle all those variables. I mean, new models of cars are coming out. They've got new features in them. They've got new curves. They've got new areas that need to be, touched within a car wash, which means you have to have new advancing technology all the time. And so both in the tunnel and in the backroom equipment, you need to have the best technology to make sure that production line is staying operational as often as possible. Mm-hmm. I worked a lot in the automotive industry, so manufacturing, body and white manufacturing, and most major automotive manufacturers. 15 minutes of downtime was was the most you could accommodate. Once you went past 15 minutes, you started losing a lot of profit. And so there was a big stress uptime. And having reliable, robust equipment was absolutely paramount in that industry. Yeah, I think the same goes true in car washes. You need your equipment operating 100% of the time, and you need it to be informative enough to allow the operators to know when it needs to be serviced and what needs to be serviced. And that's what we're trying to do here at innovateIT, is to sit there and put the best technology in our product that informs the operators in an effective way so that they can keep the wash operating when they need it to be.
Yeah. When do you think you what would you say you start seeing technology come in that would be kind of setting those alerts? Oh yeah, like, hey, big red flashing button saying change me now or fix me or something like that.
Oh, I mean, some of the cutting edge guys, operators, were doing it in the 90s, Tom Jr. and his family being one of them. A lot of that came from the family organizations like the Hoffmans. And it's taken a long time, I think, to flow over the entire industry, where some people, they're just looking at the P&L or the cost of the build and not seeing the long-term cost of some things. It could be something as simple as when there's a stop button pressed and you've got 8 of them in the building, which one's pressed, and you have, young generation operating a wash. You think about 6, 7 o'clock at night, you have, high school kids in there and an assistant manager. So you really need to give them the information, precise information, and you need to do it quickly so they don't panic, because if they panic, the customer's going to panic, So it's been a long road, but I think our industry's finally found the time and to sit down and just say, you know what, there is a long-term savings by paying a little up front, getting the innovative technology in there that's going to give them the information and tools they need to operate their car washes successfully.
Yeah, it's I think dummy proof might have been the word without saying it.
Yeah, but
we opened Hoffman Car Wash, opened a location a couple days ago, and I forget what day it was. I got a text message Thursday night. We open on Tuesday, so we do free car washes as a kind of an introduction, grand opening type thing. So I'll choose my words nicely, or some guy on Facebook posted a photo, and it wasn't our tunnel, but he made it seem like it was our tunnel, and it was a car completely on its side. And the text said, like, oh no, like, don't go to Hoffman Car Wash at this location, like, look what's happening there. And this car was completely on its side. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, are you serious? Like, this is fake news if I ever heard it. So, which from a marketing perspective is, like, how much do you want to interject and get involved in this? And, we had some employees on their own accounts get involved, and then we actually replied from Hoffman Car Wash saying, like, wow, that's crazy. Like, not our wash. Here's why. Like, it was there was like a room in the tunnel. And anyway, I'm like, first off, how did this car get up on its side?
Do me Photoshop.
Yeah. It was crazy to see. But anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. I think the dummy proofing or whatever it was, it just an interesting story, I guess. So, no, we did not flip a car on its side, and we were completely operational. So, anyways, about speaking of other challenges, about a year ago, we were sitting here and we would have different guests on, talk about challenges facing the car wash. And at that time, and maybe this is still the case in some areas, but labor was a big cause for concern within the industry, finding help. New York's going through a minimum wage is going up, which, kind of brings everything else up. So since that, everything's kind of settled down. Like the Hoffman Car Wash, for the most part, is fully staffed. It's not something that we're concerned about, but not too concerned. But what we would talk about is, okay, like automation in that process in the wash and how that reduces labor costs. And so maybe we're past that, but as of June of 2023, what do you guys think biggest challenges facing car wash?
A year ago when we brought Stefan on, one of our biggest challenges was supply chain.
Yeah.
And we warned him up front in the interview process, the challenges that faced him with supply chain and the challenge of our relatively new company and how we had mismanaged our supply chain. So, we'll let him tell you about his journey over the last months that, really, it's a question I still get asked a lot, especially at trade shows. Everybody wants to know lead time. They want to know, is the supply chain hurting you if I need a replacement part?
Yeah.
And
Rightfully so.
Yeah, rightfully so. They got to keep their businesses running. But we turned a corner, and things are getting brighter. And this gentleman next to us, method to the madness. I mean, what'd you do?
I'm sure this is not, this isn't just an innovative problem. This is everywhere.
The supply chain and material shortages has been kind of the woe of every manufacturer for over 2 years, since probably late year one of COVID.
And then unfortunately, kind of used as an excuse nowadays by some.
Sure.
When you're like, well, where is that? And they're like, supply chain. It's like,
oh, I forgot to place the order.
Let's get over the word supply chain.
Yeah, what was happening at Applied Robotics before I left is, there was, manufacturers and the employees were not at the plants manufacturing the products. And so there was, once the stock was diminished, there was going to be a delay until they could replenish those inventories. And that spawned a lot of manufacturers to overbuy. They bought up as much material as they could to put it on their shelf so they didn't have that delay. And that left a big shortage. And in some areas like the microprocessors, chips, they're still playing catch up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of electrical components we're working at trying to still get a supply chain that is built and robust so that we can handle fluctuating demands. I think it's going to be a continued challenge for a good year or two to come.
Mm.
But what we're trying to do is second source. We're trying to provide, appropriate alternatives for certain components. And where we can't, we're working directly with our vendors to set up that supply chain so that we have that supply when we need it. So that includes both, on-site inventory as well as our vendor inventory. And we're really managing that closely.
Yeah.
So that we can make sure that we can produce the products that our customers are looking for when they're trying to open up.
So I gotta assume it comes a lot down to relationships and the relationships that you're able to build, and not with your customers, but with your vendors, and communication needs to be clear from them.
You want to have, the relationships you have with your customers, you want to have the same type of relationship with your suppliers, very open, very, transparent communication with what your expectations are. Hey, here's what we need. We need to solve it together.
Mm-hmm.
I approach all my conversation with my suppliers as, here's the problem. I'm not going to, I don't want to solely provide an answer because it may not fit with what they're trying to do. We need to come to a solution together that works for both companies.
Yeah.
So we really try to work on a kind of a collaborative and, productive manner with our suppliers. Same way we would with our customers, trying to hear their needs, their pain points, and work towards a common solution.
Okay. So that's the bad of it, or the things the challenges. What most excites you guys looking forward? Not necessarily just like from product standpoint, but just like, I don't know, for me, like AI is exciting for me. And I think from a marketing standpoint, it kind of just like gets the juices flowing a little bit. But I don't know if you guys have anything that's you're like really looking forward to in the upcoming year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is.
I mean, to go along the AI point, I think, we implement a lot of controls within our equipment that allow us to adapt to different types of cars and attempt to provide the best product coming out of that tunnel. Some of that is a lot of just, trial and error, tweak, and, through adjustments that we learn within the Hoffman washes. Getting that to where you have some basic level of learning, I think, on the controls end of things, to how your equipment can then respond to, different environments, different types of cars, and change its performance and settings, I think could add a lot of value in getting a consistent product coming through the tunnel.
Yeah. Are you putting energy towards that now?
That is, we're setting the foundation that will allow us to start moving down that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. Shane mentioned Tom Hoffman Jr. He loves this stuff. I mean, just absolutely loves it. So it's great to have someone who's like, at the very top who is excited about it and gets it, and I think will drive things forward. And I think a lot of just conversations, like I said, our department's right next to Innovate It, and like just different, you just hear different things going through, and like the effects AI could have in a positive way for many businesses, which is certainly exciting. What's next for Innovate It? What's the next big product launch, or what do you got? What's coming up?
Oh, we got RO and Reclaim that we launched last October, I believe, at the NRCC. We've got a lot of good feedback on that, both directly from our customers, from our trade shows, internally. And so at Southwest Show next early spring, late winter, early spring, we're going to be presenting kind of the Gen 2 of RO and Reclaim, which is taking a lot of that feedback into a next level advancement of that. But
you put it out there, so it has to happen now.
Oh, it's happening. It's happening. I won't be here if that one's happening. No, I'm really looking forward to that, because we have had a lot of really great feedback, both internally at Hoffman's and from some of our other close customers. And so I'm really excited to kind of implement some of that in the next generation. And then we've been working on kind of a smart MCC, and we kind of did a soft launch of it at ICA in Vegas this past year. Had a lot of diagnostics, a lot of technology within our MCCs and controllers that we are pretty excited about. That kind of just adds to the options and the flexibility with the operators. Really informs them, allows them to make informed decisions, allows them to respond to failures that may happen in a very quick and rapid manner. They don't need a professional technician to sit there and help guide them into resolving issues. Anybody that's operating that wash can easily sit there and go up into an HMI, see what is happening, be able to resolve the problem right then and there. So we're trying to be more intuitive and more instructive for the operator.
I think it's a lot of it is just driven by how people operate their lives, right? And the user experience they have on their phone or on their computer or whatever it was. It's like the days of like turning a knob or whatever it is, those are gone. It's all, it's on the user interface. What about you, Shane? What are you excited about?
I think I'm most excited about the relationships we're building. I mean, I still go to the shows, and each show we get a bigger booth and we bring more equipment so people see more and more what we do. I would say 2 to 3 weeks out of the month we have operators touring the factory and touring washes to see, kick the tires. And, we get a general comment a lot of the time is like, you guys are serious about this. And the first couple times I'd be like, well, what do you mean? And they would be, oh, I didn't know if you're making this in Tom's garage or what you were doing, And no, we're serious. I mean, we've got a facility that we built, and even rent extra space in a building next to us.
Yeah.
So, as people get exposed to that, and I think it brings them over to the innovative team and makes them family, because they know we're here for the long run. They know what we're capable of. And, we have a lot of great, strong relationships with operators and vendors and other manufacturers. And, every 6 months that goes by, you really feel good about it, because it's growing, and it's growing in a really healthy way. So that's what, I look to that. I love that side of my job and really enjoy it.
When you look at the industry as a whole, what's most exciting for you?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
Hey, I'll tell you, I'll go first, and then you could. I think you're starting to see. I love technology, and I love the AI, but I think the growth of car wash, and from a marketing standpoint, I think marketers are just getting smarter about it. It's not, let's just do a print ad with a coupon or whatever it is. I think those days are gone. I think you have a younger, not younger, just a newer, more progressive flow of tactics when it comes to marketing, and to be able to look, across the country and see different operators and what they're doing. I think, some of it is pretty innovative. If you haven't seen it, Take 5, they've launched this pigeon campaign. It's brilliant. Anyone out there, just if you Google Take 5 pigeon, it's pretty good. It's very clever, very creative. So just seeing operators who are taking a much larger approach or than just a coupon, certainly exciting to see.
For me, I guess it's really the education of the operators. I'll use an example. A couple weeks ago, we did a tour, and we're at the car wash, and we're in the Northeast, so like everybody and their brother has a car that has some kind of rack on it. It's a kayak, it's a bike, it's a ski rack. It's unbelievable. And we were just washing these cars right through, and the operator's like, man, well, what happens if that top brush gets caught on that snowboard rack? I'm like, well, the conveyor pauses, the brush lifts out of the way, and the conveyor restarts. And like, they just don't know this technology exists, and it's available to them. So, for the next 4 hours of our tour, I mean, he just kept coming back to that. He's like, I just don't get it. Why doesn't anybody else do it? And I'm like, I don't know, We're fortunate enough that we operate successful car washes. And if we turned around or turned away cars with some sort of rack on them, we'd be looking for something to do. Even in our own parking lot here in the office, it's like everybody's got some kind of stinking rack, So it excites me that people are they're learning about it and they're open to it. I mean, I started in 1993. If you would have said to somebody like, hey, I'm going to control that wraparound in the event it gets caught on a big towing mirror, the operators would have laughed you out of the room, probably fired you. I don't know. But you have to do it. You can't always rely on an employee. They do the best they can, but hey, sometimes they're short-staffed and they're doing the best they can, and you get a little hiccup. So I think that's really exciting. I'm a nerd like Tom when it comes to the control side of things, running around with my laptop in the car washes. Not so much anymore. Stefan keeps me busy on the sales side. But, being able to educate people on that, I really enjoy it. And I think in the next 5-10 years, with, like Steph was saying, all the different shapes, sizes, colors, whatever it is, it's going to force us to get more creative. And that future looks bright.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave it this. We'll leave on a lighter note. And I'm going to ask this question as a pure selfish reason. Has nothing to do with car wash, but I am near the end of season 3 of Ted Lasso, and I need something to watch afterward. So what are you guys currently watching? I'm hardest question of the day, right?
I did just finish Ted Lasso. and I'm in between I'm trying to figure out the next series to start watching. If you have not watched Succession,
Okay.
that is a good one.
Okay.
That is a very good show.
For you guys, Shane.
Well, in the absence of Yellowstone this summer, I've caught up on every Viking show there is on Netflix, and I just finished it last week. And luckily, the second half, season 5 of Yellowstone will be out, so I'll finish that. After that, my better half says I better get to work out in the yard, so I guess I'm not gonna be watching any TV this summer. But
I'll tell you, Yellowstone's of you're I want to be a cowboy so bad.
Exactly words I used to my wife. I was like, I think we can be cowboys.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys go.
I've got horses at home, and hey, if you ever want to be a cowboy, come over, take care of our horses. We'll see how long you want to be a cowboy.
Exactly. All right. Well, Stefan, thanks so much for joining us. Everyone, thanks for your patience for the start of season 3, and hopefully we'll have you back at some point.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.